Good morning, everybody. Sorry about the delay there. I'm running into some technical problems, just trying to get everything set up and working. My computer decided to stop to not talk to the encoder today, so that created a little extra drama. So I'm trying to get everything set up. Hopefully it is good to go. All right. So, welcome to this Friday morning show, Break the Cycle with DSD. I am your host. I'm not a therapist. I'm an individual much like you who's gone through a pretty tough experience. And over the course of the years, almost decade now that I've been going through this, I've developed some tips and techniques that work for me to regain my sanity, get my life back, repair the relationship with my kids, and just start to get some distance from all this. I share that with you to hopefully help you do the same. Now be careful whenever you're throwing diagnoses around, because only a clinician in a licensed professional in a clinical environment can do that. Technically, even the YouTube and TV doctors who like to go around and diagnosing people on their shows, that's not really cool. However, we can come up with some patterns of behavior that follow certain traits, and then use that knowledge and the information on how you deal with those people to help us. So that part's important. If you want to get text notified of the show when it goes live, just text DSDLIVE to 844-598-0012, 844-598-0012. You can find that on, I forgot to hit record, find that on the video description as well. And the phone lines, if everything hasn't eaten itself, will be open, and you can dial into the show at 1-424-373-5483 or 1-424-DSD-LIVE. Oh, and for international people, there is a web interface that does not use standard calling rates. It just uses a website, and you can do that, and the links are in the show notes and the description on that. Okay. Jeez, what a weird morning. So, last thing, if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button, ring the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. All right. So, man, starting this thing up, my computer decided, nah, you don't need video. You don't need video. So I go to turn it on and I'm like, where's my camera? The camera's not there. So I had to do some quick troubleshooting. And I guess in my mistake, I forgot to hit record on the podcast. So I'll have to pull it off the video. It's just problem solving, figuring out ways to work around issues. But before I jump into, before I guess jump into everything, just want to say to everybody who's out there, how many people we got out there? So this is the small early crowd. It's Debbie's birthday today. I'll let her say, well, I guess I'll just throw it out there. She's the big 50. We both turned 50 this in 2020. And I was earlier in August, and today is her day. So I took today off. She took today off. So not from the show. We'll do that, and then try to have as best of a COVID birthday that we possibly can, which means Zoom parties and stuff like that. But we got it figured out, I think. So if you guys could send her some well wishes, that would be good. Anyways, oh my gosh, what a weird morning. So on that, how you guys doing? We made it through another week. What a weird week. This has been kind of a bizarre thing. California, still with it burning to the ground, has just been tough with the old weather and the air quality. So that's been wreaking havoc. I think the fires that are still going on in my area on the other side of the little valley are still going. But I'll be glad when this fire season is over. So I had a friend of mine, not a friend of mine, on my other channel, on the camping channel, somebody was going to go to one of the areas I went to, and they posted back saying it was their reservations were canceled because of all the fires. So it's definitely going to be interesting. Anyways, let's see. Oh, I see everybody giving Debbie well wishes. So thank you guys. Appreciate that. Now I gotta figure out. When everything just takes a little bit of a doesn't go the way you think, and you have to think on your feet, it's kind of tough. Which, you know what? Let's make that the topic for today. Let's talk about how you have to be adaptable and switch things around whenever you are when we're going through this situation, because it's like nothing tends to go the way that we expect it to go. I'll tell you that for me, I had an idea how it was going to go. When I was realizing that the marriage was over and that things were going to change, I'm like, all right, well, this sucks, but I mean, I've been with this person for 20 years. We obviously care about each other. This will be civil and reasonable. I want to just ask for the people who are here live, or hell, even for the people who are on the replay, how many people thought when they started this that it was going to be like that? It's like, all right, you know what? This will be civil. This is not going to be, it's not going to be like you opened a portal to hell. How many people thought that, all right, we're going to be able to, we'll be all right. We'll be able to co-parent. We'll be able to put the kids first. We won't play any stupid games. We'll be that model good separation / divorce, and it'll all be good. Ding, 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 ding. I did. Oh boy, did boy, was I wrong. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, I was like, I had this vision. I was like, yeah, you know what? All right. Okay. I didn't understand MPD. I didn't understand all that stuff. I just figured, all right, well, relationships, one of us went left, the other one went right. It happens. Not a big deal. We're mature individuals. This isn't going to be completely stupid. I just assumed that all the shenanigans that were going on was just an indicator that this is actually what I thought is. I figured, okay, she doesn't really want to be with me. She really wants to be with someone else. She didn't cheat, as far as I know. So I don't, and that's actually not her cup of tea. So I doubt that she did. Anyways, so I just, I'm like, all right, okay, this is dead. I can't live like this anymore. And I just need an opportunity to not live under total chaos. But I thought it was more like, well, I guess in some ways I was kind of right? Because I was like, all right, so she's trying to torpedo this relationship. And I just assumed from all the put downs and all the crap from 20 years of marriage that had to be it. It had to be that, well, I never really was into you. So, but I'm not going to be the bad guy to torpedo the marriage. So I figured, okay, I'll press the button. I'll do it. Oh my God. It was like, like one of those nuclear explosions, boosh, and then the shock wave is just coming. And I'm like, wow, well, that's kind of weird. I wonder what that, then it hits you and you go flying back and you're like, oh my God, what the hell was that? And then it was like right after that explosion went off, it was like the freaking, whatever, the A10 Warthog freaking doing strafing runs over you. It's like, oh my God. I remember starting this out, mourning the loss of the relationship, mourning the loss of the marriage, just being sad. And after that first explosion and the first couple of jets went by, I was like, holy crap. I don't have time to sit here and lick my wounds. I got to get in defensive mode and take some cover, because if I don't, I'm going to get mowed down. I remember thinking that. And then it just got more and more interesting. Every day was like a new little surprise. It was like watching, not watching, it was like being a part of your own horror movie. Man, it was not a fun experience. So, as you're sitting there going, well, what does that have to do? I would say, what does that have to do with things not going, not going right and having to adapt? Well, that's it. I was like, I had to, in real time, every one of you have to, in real time, go, oh my God, this is absolutely not what I expected. Then it's like, oh my God, this person I would have done anything for in the world will do anything they can in the world to destroy you to get what they want. Hard realization, hard. I mean, for the people who are still going through it, it's rough. But I hope that you can look at this and you can see a knucklehead on your screen and go, all right, yeah, that's pretty much what happened to me. But now look at him. This is the thing. It feels like when you're there that there's nothing that can get better. It feels like that pain and those emotions are just going to be there forever, that you'll never get over it. As soon as you realize that, the other person isn't going to change and this is kind of your life, it's really devastating. It feels like you're just like, holy crap, there's no way out of this. But let me tell you, there is. You figure out who they are. You build up your defenses. You build up, I hate to say walls because there's so much bad connotation with, putting up a wall and keeping people. I'm not talking about the political stuff. I'm talking about even on the emotional side, the idea of, building walls to keep people out and keep yourself safe seems bad. But in this situation, we do have to. And the building of those walls really means building your own emotional intelligence, healing from past wounds, building better emotional boundaries so that you know who you are, you know what you're willing to accept into your life, and you cut out people who are toxic and don't really deserve a spot in your life. That's what I'm talking about. That's how things change. You learn to work around these people to minimize and mitigate the damage they're causing and get your life back. Now, as I've said in the past, it's not the life that you were expecting. It's not the direction you were expecting. If you had that plan, and this was really hard for me because I'm one of those people, I've mentioned this before, to where I go down a path and I get fixated, or tunnel vision, I guess, what you could say, on going that direction. This is the way I'm going. This is how it's supposed to go. This is what I'm going to do. And whenever it doesn't go that way, it's hard for me. It's getting easier now, but it was definitely hard for me to say, okay, that's not the path anymore. I have to take a break. I have to relook at everything, reevaluate my life. And then at one point I realized, I'm like, hey, this is kind of cool because I get to I can't switch my jobs yet because of all the ancillary stuff, but I can decide the direction I'm going to go. I can decide the person I want to be, the people I want to hang around with, what my whole new direction is. It's all based on what I want to do. And that was actually very liberating. It didn't feel like it at the time. I didn't see that benefit. I just felt all the pain, but I do now, and you will too. All right, let me see what's going on in the comments. We got a handful of people here today. The phone lines are in theory open. Well, if somebody does call in, we'll have to test that part out. But phone number is 1-424-373-5483. All right, let me see. I want to see where people were saying where if it was them. Let me scroll back. I'm scrolling back because I know I saw some people. Let's see. I think I went too far. All right, I'm trying to read some of this. So John has said, Duane, sorry, I don't agree. A woman plus phone equals cheating if they are a covert narc. Maybe. You know what? I guess what I'm saying is that, well, you know what? I'm not gonna go into the gory, interesting details, but there were certain. I'm just gonna say there's certain things that from shortly after I got married, the ex just was not interested in at all. And I'll just let you guys, you know, maybe there were 3 or 4 times where they were interested. And for anybody who lives like that, that is not a good way to live. So Will says, I thought we would split and go our separate ways. Instead, after the discard, she started harassing me, threatening me, and even following me if we would see each other on the road. Yeah, I mean, isn't it weird how you go through this and you have this expectation of how things are going to go. And then it's like the opposite. Not the opposite happens, but something different happens. And it's weird because you try to make the hard part with this is you try to make your peace, and then they do this other stuff to where you're like, what? You know, it makes no sense. I mean, you think that you understand. This is what happened with me. Every time I thought I understood what was going on, something bizarre would happen. It was like, oh, okay, so this is a situation. And it would be like out of left field, whack, whoa, okay, well, didn't expect that, didn't see that coming. But the really weird part about it, and maybe a lot of you guys have seen this as well, is I had a few people who, actually it was my brother-in-law, or step brother-in-law. So it was her step brother. And they had been, I don't remember what age they all, that family came together. But the dude basically said, dude, the entire time I've known her, she has been, I'm going to say this, batshit crazy. So the best thing that could happen to you is if she would just leave without the kids and go someplace else. Go back to the, back over to where she wanted to go. I said, that's probably not, he was like, and that's probably not going to happen. So, just hold on. It's going to get worse before it gets better. And I remember when he said that, I was just like, what? I'm like, no. Oh my God. He so had that spot on. He even actually predicted the whole, her walking away from the house thing. And he's like, that side of the family is, she wants extra money. Just expect her to stop paying the house, to walk away from it, to just do everything to destroy your credit. And I was just like, no, why would you? It was weird, right? Because now looking back to it, it's so apparent what I was dealing with and what was going to happen. But I just wasn't at the point in this whole process that I could accept it. That I even believed it. I had to prove to myself that over and over again that it was real. And every time it happened, it was not fun. Let's see here. I see, Debbie said you can call in using the web interface and then not pay the call rate. Oh, yeah. Let me just, how can I do this? How can I, it should be, see, I don't want to click on the video because, let me do, okay, let me try to do this. This might be a mistake. So I'm going to pause that so we don't hear that. I'm going to have to turn off the side chat. Forgot to do that this morning too, because I've just been behind the power curve. Okay. If you scroll down, hopefully it's here. Yeah, right here. So you got the phone to call into the show, dial blah, 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 1-424-373-5483. But right down here, international calling, use this for free calling. Just click on this. It's callinstudio.com/show/DSD that says live. That link should work. And that just gives you basically a kind of like a Skype interface directly into the call-in system that I'm using. So if for people outside of the United States who are like, man, I do not want to pay, $80 or however much it would be to call in, use that and it'll bypass that. There'll be a little bit more of a delay, I think, but it does work. Let me flip that back out. Hopefully that was helpful. Let me just get this back to where I need all my stuff to be. So let's see what else is going on in the comments. See this. Okay, I'm going to grab this. Jack says, X said to me at the start of the divorce, quote, "Let the games begin." See, and the really weird part about it is these people, hashtag these people, tell us exactly what they're going to do. It's really bizarre because they don't generally, they don't really hide what they're going to do. It's like and it's bizarre because I think sometimes we get into this mode to where we don't really believe it. It's like they tell us who they are, and then we're like, no, it's not going to be like that. I know that's the way I was feeling. I'm like, man, 2 decades with somebody, almost half our lives. We've been together. We've been through so much, I remember, it's so funny, right? It's like, they'll say stuff like, let the games begin. I tell mine, it's like, look, I don't want to hate you. Let's just, okay, we're at a point, let's do this civilly and, maintain a decent relationship. That was probably one of my other mistakes is I said, hey, let's do this and have it be friendly and it'll be great. And it was like, nope. Really? Oh, that's what you want? Well, let me show you, mister. I remember at one point, I'm trying to remember how, because I was just back in that early part of it. I was like, hey, won't leave you hanging. We'll make this work. I was holding out hope that what I was not expecting, but what I was thinking was happening would not, what's the word I'm looking for? Wasn't real, right? So I kept coming back to the trough, or, I kept coming back to the hot pan, and it's like, maybe this time it won't burn me. I know it's glowing red hot, but maybe that's just a visual effect. Anyways, holy cow. All right, I'm going to look through here a little bit more, and I see a caller is coming in, so I'll grab that in a second. Let's see. Oh, DC says, I remember looking into a collaborative divorce. I was disillusioned. Oh my God, so was I. Let's see. All right, I'm just scrolling through there. Oh, see, Debbie's posting some comments, so let me see what I'm missing. Oh, where did Shane say this? I want to pull this up on the screen. Where? Yeah, there it is. So Shane said, Duane, in the beginning, I asked my ex what she wanted in the divorce, and she said, quote, the mother usually gets the house, the kids, and the car. I knew it was going to be a fight from day one. Mine was, what she kept saying to me is, well, I want everything I'm entitled to. I'm like, what do you mean? I want everything I'm entitled to. Okay, well, what do you want? Everything I'm entitled to. I'm like, what? I used to, what's funny is the word entitled used to trigger me. Back in the day, just saying that, like now I'm laughing at it, or if someone else said, if something said something talking about an entitlement, it just I would have a PTSD response, to say the least. All right, so let me go ahead and grab this call, and there's a chance this might not work, so we'll have to roll with it. So area code, I think 614. Hello and welcome to the show.
G'day, Duane. Can you hear me?
I can. Oh my God. I wasn't sure. How you doing this morning?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Calling from Australia, so it's late, and I'm going to bed after this. Thanks for taking my call, mate.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So it might be a little bit more of a delay, which will make our conversation a little more interesting, but I think it'll work. So we're talking about parental parental alienation. I was trying to read the auto speech thing screwed it up, so I was trying to read it the way it said it. But so what's going on in your situation?
No, that's exactly right. Well, you might remember we had a chat a few weeks ago about
Yep.
some things going on. I've got 4 kids. My ex is EDD, malignant, very covert narcissistic, and uh, so my eldest son, who's 15, I always had a suspicion that he wasn't my biological son. So I recently ended up getting a DNA test, and turns out that I'm not his biological son. And I brought that up with my ex in mediation, and unfortunately, she wouldn't agree to handle it like adults.
Oh, of course not.
And instead, the very next day, told him, and basically has now used that to cut me off completely. And he wants nothing to do with me. So that's been a pretty huge blow, man, and I've been really, really struggling with it. One of the things that prompted me tonight to call in is I was actually in the middle of a pretty intense conversation with my girlfriend, and by intense, I mean I was actually breaking up with her.
Oh wow.
But there was this huge bang on my bedroom window, and I looked out, and there was about 5 teenagers down there. And so they ran off, and I jumped in my car and went for a drive and caught up to them. And turns out it was my son and his mate,
Right.
mucking around trying to cause trouble over here. So yeah, just feeling pretty triggered, mate. Pretty defeated. Yeah, it's just such a crappy situation.
Yeah, I mean, I know we talked about that before, and I mean the problem is, I mean you were even before that you were having. I mean your ex was already working on your son to, I mean to do the parental alienation. So I'm sure I can just imagine how she tried to spin that. You know, I'm sure she was like, "Oh, your dad did this because." You know, he never really, whatever. You know, he never cared anyways, and he just tried to prove, and all he cares about is, you know, money or whatever. So, did you get a chance whenever with that to talk with your son in that group, or did you just kind of see who it was and then just I mean, did you guys have any words or?
Yeah. I mean, I was yelling at them,
Yeah.
you know, inquiring about what the hell they were doing. Before I realized my son was amongst them.
Yeah.
And yeah, I had a bit of a conversation with him, but it wasn't pretty. He was screaming at me. I ended up screaming at him. It just got very heated very, very quickly. Um, and that's the trouble with our dynamic as well, is there's so much tension there. And he spews the same stuff that comes out of his mother's mouth. One of the first things he said
Yeah.
to me was that he's going to threaten me with the cops for domestic violence. I'm just like, here we go. Yeah, so nothing really much has come of it yet, other than I've had several angry emails from my ex.
Because of that situation, or because of some other things?
Mm-hmm. No, because of this situation tonight.
See, and it's bizarre, right? Because
So what?
what should be is that he shouldn't be coming over trying to throw rocks through your window, right? I mean, that's absolutely inappropriate.
No.
And I mean, and it's just another example of how, I mean, these people, I mean, when I say these people, I'm talking about your ex, are not good humans, right? I mean, it's like they're not trying to make the situation better for anyone. They love the chaos, and for them to basically turn every kid that they can against you is a victory to them. Not even thinking about, I mean, think about it. I mean, you know, I mean, not to make an excuse for your son, but God, can you imagine being through this? You know, I mean, you're already going through a toxic. You know, your parents have split up. They're divorced. You know, you're going through a divorce. I mean, I know there's other stuff that we've talked about offline. I won't bring up, but I mean, there's all these other things that are, you know, that you're dealing with. That I mean, all of these things that are out there, and then in the midst of it, you basically find out that the person you've been siding with cheated on their dad and had an, you know, and now they're an illegitimate kid and probably don't even know who their real biological father is. So I mean, it's kind of like that kid's world has been just imploded on himself. And the sad reality is the only person really out there who gives a damn about him and who could actually help him through this is you. And because of your ex's
Yeah.
situation, it's not. I mean, that avenue has been destroyed. So this poor guy, and I mean, I don't mean to try to throw sympathy at your son because I'm sure you're probably pretty irritated at this whole situation, and you probably expected more from him.
Oh,
But I
look,
mean,
he's definitely a victim in this.
yeah. So I mean, you know, I mean, and dude, I mean, honestly, you know, I mean, everyone can't be on their A game the entire time. And whenever you have a group of knuckleheads who are trying to basically vandalize your house, I mean, I don't know. Let me ask you this. Did you kind of expect that your son was in the middle of it? Or did you think that it was just a bunch of knucklehead kids who picked your house to throw stuff at?
I didn't expect him to be amongst them. I thought it could have been kids that he knows because he does know a lot of unruly teenagers that live in the area.
Right.
Um, and Braden's had threats against him before from some of them. Um, but yeah, so I didn't know who it was at first. Jumped in my car, screamed up the road, and they were just around the corner.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Well, they probably didn't think you were going to
so it's
chase
pretty.
them. Well, I don't know, man. I
No,
mean,
I don't think they
I,
thought that either.
I don't even, you know, I mean, the thing is you need to be able to have just a one-on-one conversation with him. But as it stands now, I'm sure the ex won't allow it. And the kid is, I mean, he was already citing trying to be the protector for his mom. So now he's just even, you know, it's kind of like what I was talking about at the beginning of the show is you get into this mode to where you're just in the middle of the firefight. You don't even have time to really strategically think about anything because you're just trying to survive. You know, and I would imagine that's probably the
Exactly.
situation he's in now. Let me ask you this,
Yeah,
and you
look,
don't have to
I don't
talk.
know where he's at.
I don't just. I mean, and you, if it's not an appropriate conversation, is everything going good on the rest of the side? I mean, as good as it can. The job thing going okay. Everything else stabilized ish, or is it all not so great? And you don't have to. I mean, if you don't want
Not
to talk about
really.
it,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm able to talk about it. I'm pretty open. Yeah, I guess for people listening, I also am not working due to injuries from a car accident that have been made worse by this syndrome I found out I have. So yeah, things have just been really crazy. They started paying me again,
Oh,
but I'm
good.
still not
Okay.
back at work.
Okay.
So
Yeah, the last time we spoke, the
financially, I'm
next day
okay,
you were going to
but
have a meeting with them. So that's kind of what I was wondering if they had just said, "Hey, thanks
yeah.
for your service," and you know, go away, or if they were. So they're still taking care of you, basically.
Well, kind of.
Okay.
I actually think my boss isn't aware that they're paying me
Okay.
because he hasn't been logging my unpaid sick leave. But
Okay.
anyway, I'm not saying anything to them for now.
Right. Right.
But you know, the house that I'm in has just been put up for sale, and they're kicking me out. So you know, it's just one thing after another, mate.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get away. I've got the kids this week for we got a two week school holiday period at the moment. I go back to the mothers tomorrow afternoon. No, sorry, Sunday afternoon. And then I've basically got 2.5 weeks to myself. So I'm going to go away for a bit, just clear my head, try and ground myself a bit, and yeah, really meditate on it and work out a plan forward. Because I just feel like I'm at the end of my tether. I'm
Yeah.
exhausted and tired.
This stuff definitely wears you down.
Put it this way, if the borders to New Zealand were open right now, I probably would have gone over there and just said see you later for a bit. I've got family over there that I could stay with.
Oh, right.
That's how bad it is, and that's how drastic I feel. I need to take action just to keep my head above water.
Well,
you know what I mean.
Take action's good. Just don't do anything drastic, right? I mean, but you definitely need to give yourself some time for a break. So hopefully this next couple of weeks will give you that. But I tell you what, man, I'll send you a note after this. Maybe we can catch up a little bit more offline. All right.
Sounds good, Duane. Appreciate that, mate.
All right. Thanks for calling, man. You know, it's like a lot of times we just look for little victories, just something. And it's like these people are so wrapped up in destruction and they don't care about anybody else. They don't even think about the damage. Like I was just talking about with this guy, and he still considers him his son. I mean, he's raised this teenager for his entire life. He didn't know. Obviously he suspected later, and I think a lot of us have those epiphanies. Once everything starts to fall apart, we're like, holy crap! Things are not how they seemed. So, and then it's tough to hold on to information and be tactical about, or no, strategic, not tactical, about things, right? I mean, it's tough. I mean, I did the same thing. There were things whenever when information would come up, the only thing, let me just finish this out. When information would come up, I had a hard time of holding it back and not sharing that. Luckily, when I found out about MPD, I was far enough into it that I did not take that as an opportunity to poke her in the eye on that. So I never said, I figured you out. I know what you are. You're this. Because that would have made things just worse. She would have turned around and tried to say it was me. All right. I do have another caller. I'm going to grab that. And do I have two? So I will grab the web one. Let me flip this back up. Hello and welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hi. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm okay, thanks. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Calling from Australia as well.
Oh, wow. It's an Aussie day today.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I guess I was just thinking about parental alienation and then disciplining when the child is in your care. So I have quite a complex story, an ongoing family court.
Okay.
But daughter has been gone for most of the year, so I'm no longer her primary carer because the narc's been able to, spin the situation to the family court. So, we're still waiting on those sorts of things. But now that she's returned to my care part-time, disciplining is a whole different story. So he's been putting me down to her constantly. And a McDonald's ice cream turns, little drama turns into a 2-hour fiasco.
Yeah.
And dealing with that is crazy because he's saying in her ear that I'm a horrible parent and so on and so forth. I can't even discipline her the way that I would
Yeah,
normally.
exactly.
I have to be mindful of what, the whole situation. It's really horrible to deal with. But this is a year now of dealing with the family court and waiting for court dates and hearings and all of that kind of stuff. Crazy time.
Let me ask you a couple of questions. So, because typically this plays out a certain way. So you say you have half time now. So when you see your daughter, what is the timeshare? I mean, is it like week on, week off, or is it?
I have her 5 nights out of a fortnight. Whereas prior to that, I was her primary carer. So
okay,
it was the complete opposite.
Are those 5 nights consecutive? So it's like
No.
Oh crap! So it's
Wednesdays weekly and one weekend per fortnight.
Okay. See, that makes it a lot more because typically what happens is transition days are really tough. And if the longest period you have is, Friday night and then to Monday or whatever, that's not a lot of time.
Exactly.
And
that's right.
And I kind of had that with, my schedule was every Wednesday, well, it used to be every Wednesday and Thursday, and then on alternating weekends. So I'd have 2 days and then I'd have 5. And see what I would see, and even before I used to have the dinner thing, what you have to do on this is like on that. Let me ask you this: is it every time is a nightmare, or is it just like the week whenever you have the long weekend?
It's most often than the longer time.
Okay. All right. So
rather than just one night.
And does everything go to crap the first day? Is that where it's really tough?
Literally, like she has been in his care, and it will take 30 minutes from me picking her up from school to it just goes to shit. Like it just literally it took nothing for it to just go because she's now in his care primarily. She's just being fed stuff constantly. Like her emotions are just.
She's completely confused.
It's terrible. Yeah.
So
she's confused. She's being fed. Yeah.
This is what I would ask you to consider on this is you already know that your ex is, and you said it earlier, right? You know that he's spinning this tale that you're this horrible person. And then you got to look at your actions as, I mean, it's tough because there's a balance, right? I mean, because if they're being disrespectful and stuff like that, you can't just be a doormat. But at the same time, you have to be really careful of how you respond. What I actually did in that situation, and it was really weird because most people told me not to do it. They're like, you need to, whenever they come back, you need to like snap, it's like, nope, this is the way it is right off the bat. And I tried that, and it was a complete and total train wreck. And what would happen is if when they would come in the door, it would be like you said a shit show. And then the entire time that I had with them would be like that. And if I was lucky, maybe the last day of that 5 would turn better. What I started to do is on those longer days when they were in a bad mood, I just let it go. As long as it wasn't to where they were trying to poke me in the eye directly, be completely little brats to me. For the most part, it was like a free time. It was like, okay, this is amnesty day, and give her, your daughter, some time to acclimate back in. And the thing is like I said, most people are going to tell you not to do that. But see, but if you don't, you're feeding into exactly what your ex is trying to say about you. I mean, if he's saying, "Oh, your mom's so strict and she doesn't understand you," and then your daughter gets with you and you're like, "Hey, knock it off." You're setting down firm things. In the kid's mind, you're validating everything that the ex is saying. So the way you flip the script on that is you do the unexpected, right? And and there's a balance there, right? I mean, if your kid comes in and starts screaming at you, you obviously can't just let it go, but you do have to pivot your approach, right? Whereas even for me in the past, if the kids would do it, I would go into, stereotypical angry dad mode and, use my, my height and size and everything to put the fear of God into them, which is exactly what the ex was expecting me to do, right? It was validating her version of the story. And what I started to do is I'm like, look, that's inappropriate. You need to go to your room right now. Right. And just put distance in it and do that. The other part of it is whenever you have to set down a boundary, for the love of God, give yourself an out, not to back off of what the punishment or whatever, or the cause and effect is, but that it gives you something still left that you can do, right? Like if you and your daughter like to, whatever, make cookies or something like that, have the punishment be something else, but it's like, okay, your punishment is whatever this is in this column, but we still get to do this. So it's like what it is like you basically have to be the good and the bad cop in the same person. And it's really tough because nobody's raised that way, right? I mean, you're raised that one person is a disciplinarian, the one other person is kind of the more nurturing, and it doesn't have to be it's not, doesn't mean that the mom is always this and the dad is always that, but typically there's that balance, right? So when they're in trouble, then the other person, when you're all working together, can be that. So that's kind of normally how people deal with stuff, right? I mean, whenever I had my kids and they were younger and they got in trouble, I would be the hammer, and then, mom would come back around and try to soothe things over. I didn't realize I was being undermined at the time, but I never in a million years thought about doing the same, being the same person, like being the person that says, okay, here's the punishment. And now let's have another avenue to still have communication. Does that make sense?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Now, just to tell you that if you start to implement this, it doesn't work overnight, right? Because your daughter's already going to be programmed that you respond a certain way. So in her mind, she's going to play this.
Can I just quickly say more on that? It's exactly, it doesn't happen overnight. It is so exhausting. So you've dealt with a narc for the last 8 years, and then you know that the long haul with unbrainwashing your children and stuff is just exhausting.
It is. And
it's really soul crushing stuff. Yeah.
But let me add this, because when I started to do all this stuff, I had nobody giving me advice. Well, let me back up. I had everyone giving me advice, but no one was saying what I was doing was right. I had so many people telling me, no, you don't do, like that whole scenario of what I mapped out to you. I had multiple people telling me I was absolutely wrong. And I was beating my head against the wall going, oh my God, is this going to work? And I'm here to tell you it did. It took a few months, but what ended up happening is those groundhog, I call them groundhog days, where the kids would come back. It got to the point, after maybe a year or so, I mean, even before that, it got better, but it got to the point that the kids could be gone for an extended vacation with their mom, walk in the door, and it's like they never left. So this stuff does work. It takes time because you have to basically prove to the kids or to your child through your own actions that what they think you are isn't real. Maybe it was in the past, right? And I mean, I had to do that. I had to have that conversation with my kids and say, look, I'm not happy and proud with how I did things before. I don't want to be that person anymore. This is how I'm going to go forward with this. And I didn't even say that at first. I mean, it wasn't like, hey, I'm going to be somebody different and started doing it. I just started doing it and trying to catch myself. And if I was getting to the point where I was, getting ready to lose my cool, you pull myself out of the situation. Now, I wasn't an expert in that every time. There were times that I absolutely did blow it. And then it takes, that sets things back. But this does work. It just takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, exactly. It takes time. And I guess like the positive side, which I see, is knowing that you are dealing with a narcissist. So it's helpful when you understand what's going on in the background. So when your child does return home or, whatever situation is happening at the time, you can deal with that. So like when it was over a McDonald's ice cream and she just had a massive meltdown for like 2.5 hours and ran away and all sorts of crazy stuff. It was helpful for me to know, what's happening when she's with the other parent. But definitely grueling and exhausting and terribly upsetting. Yeah, it's shit, basically.
Well,
You know,
and yeah, it
and-
is.
yeah.
And it's like you said, it's completely exhausting. And I'm sure you feel it's like, why do I even have to deal with this? This is crazy. I mean, why, my relationship with my child is being systematically destroyed. You have limited,
Yeah.
I mean, in the beginning, you think you have limited to no options, but we really do, right? I mean, but we have to change our approach. Now you said you broke up a little bit before when you're talking. Are you getting ready to go back to court to try to get the custody back the way it was?
Yeah. So exactly. Yeah. So we're waiting on a final outcome. I'm feeling quite strong about.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm feeling quite good. Obviously, because we're dealing with a narc, so he's just digging a hole like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling good about this. It's just the time frames as well with court.
Yeah, especially with COVID.
And obviously COVID and stuff
Yeah.
is playing a role. So in the meantime, a poor 7-year-old girl is just getting
brainwashed,
emotionally abused,
yeah,
and brainwashed in this whole time, and being segregated from her family and what she knows.
Well, and the sad part,
Yeah,
well, I mean, there's a lot of sad parts to it, but
yeah.
we know what's happening. Your ex is trying to brainwash your kid to pick him and not pick you, so that
Exactly.
that it'll make the court swing his way. I mean, that's the standard operating procedure of these people. So just
Yeah, exactly. And I saw a comment before when I was watching, like, he literally is like, game on. Let's go. He wrote in his affidavit, he did put in his affidavit, he can't wait to show the court what he recorded her saying, and cannot wait for the court to listen to what, how she's been bad mouthing me and this kind of stuff, like, it's crazy. They thrive off of the negative
chaos.
energy and destroying people's lives.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's hard to believe. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I think we ultimately realize that's who we're dealing with, but it is when you're going through that, it's so hard to, like, holy crap, this really is the person I was with. And the sad reality is yeah, it was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
but do you ever get to a point like just waiting on the court judgment, if it's not, a good outcome, I literally feel like I'm done. Like, I don't know how much more fight I have left.
Yes. Actually, that's a really great point.
Yeah,
and
like, I almost just...
I actually was starting to prepare myself that I was going to lose. And I even started distancing myself from the kids because everyone was telling me I wasn't going to win. And the mentality I had is, I'm not going to give up until I've completely lost. And it sounds like that's where you're at.
Yeah.
And I was at the point that I was mentally preparing myself that, okay, if I lose everything, how am I going to deal with it? And I was absolutely preparing myself for that. So don't give up on that, and don't let it defeat you. Right. I mean, my take on it is, if you do, you do everything you need to do. And if it doesn't work out, then at least you tried everything you could try. Right. And hopefully with some of the suggestions I gave you today, you can, hopefully you'll start to see some improvements and some success with that. And but yeah, I think that's so common. There was a few times where I went into that mode.
Yeah, exactly. I'm done. But then you say that, but they're your children at the end of the day. Like, I don't think you can ever really quit, right?
What I would do when I would get like that,
keeping on.
Yeah, I would I would, sleep. I would basically kind of recharge my batteries. I went through a lot of iterations where I'm just like, Debbie obviously knows, but I was going to say, there were a couple of times where I'm like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I give up. Now, I didn't make any actions on that, but I was so just sick of this, sick of these games, sick of the BS, that I was done. I mean, I was just like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I'm not, no. And what happened is I was able to get some rest, and I was able to recharge my batteries. And, I didn't make any rash decisions when I was in that mindset, thank God. And, look at me now, exactly. Right? I mean, 10 years later, I have good relationship with my kids, and I didn't give up.
Yeah.
It hasn't been easy. I mean, it's not easy, but I feel good with what I've been able to accomplish, but it's tough. It is tough. So don't even feel bad about feeling in that mode, because I think we all go through that, because this is incredibly draining, and most people don't understand. It's not like you have a huge support group of people who've been there, done that, understand completely what you're going through, and can give. Well, some people have, but most people don't have good solid advice on how to deal with it.
Well, and specifically narcissists, like
Yeah.
it's not like even when you're talking to your lawyer or you're this or you're that, it's not a general discussion that can be had. It's like, oh, well, this person's a narcissist. So, you have to play it safe and word things right. But we know what the goal is, and these people are just...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The destruction is their goal.
It's a whole nother level of human. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Well, hey, I appreciate you calling and sharing, and I hope some of those ideas are helpful for you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was just looking at the time and realized we're almost out of time. Guys, here's the thing. Don't give up on this. And if you're the problem is a lot of times when you're in that mode, then you start beating yourself up, because you're like, well, what kind of parent would even be thinking this? Why would I even be, they're my kids. I would do anything for them. And most people, even if you tried to say that, like, right, if the last caller, if she went to a normal friend and just was like, I'm on my wit's end and I'm ready just to say, F it and walk away, most people would be like, oh my God, how would you ever do that? You would just walk away from your kid? And without the context of really being through this, people don't understand. I completely get it, right? And I also understand how you can completely beat yourself up and feel like a horrible person because you're in that mode where you're just so exhausted. It's like, how in the hell can this be my life? It's okay. I mean, this is the type of crap we have to deal with. Don't make any rash decisions, right? Anybody who's sitting there and they're feeling like they're so done, just don't make a decision in that mode. Don't call your attorney and say, I'm done, give them, whatever. I just get this over. Just give yourself some time before you make a decision. That's one of the things I always did. And it worked well, right? I mean, it's like most of the time by the next day, I had calmed down enough where I'm like, okay, I'm back in the fight. I feel okay. And was able to pick myself back up and continue on. But it's very, very common. And there's one other caller, but we're not going to be able to get to it. So caller, if you could just leave a message whenever this ends, I was going to say I was going to try to pick this back up on Monday, but I'm not sure if there's going to be a Monday show. It's probably like a 70 to 80% chance that the answer is no, but sign up for the text notifications. And if there is a show, I'll send out a text before it starts. Also, if I'm going to be able to do one, I'll schedule it the night before and make it public so you'll see it. So if you don't see it, and I'll try to do a community tab. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe so that you actually get the community tab notifications, and that way we'll know. So because Debbie and I are going to try to go out and do something this weekend, or on Sunday for the birthday after the kids go back to their mom. So we'll do the things today for anybody who's just jumping in. Today is her birthday. So on that. All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me this week. It's been a crazy week. Hopefully you guys got some good little nuggets of information on this. So be kind to yourself. And last thing I just want to say is thank you so much for all the channel members who've taken the time to support the channel and become a member. Thank you so much for that. And on that, have a great rest of your day. And I definitely will see you Tuesday, if not Monday.